Welcome to the main podcast, the only podcast brought to you by memers for memers. We are the only podcast exclusively devoted to meme culture. We would like to give a shout out to Endless Thread on WBUR Boston, an NPR member station. I recently have been listening to their deep dive series on memes. And so now we aren't the only podcast covering memes, but we are the only one that is its core focus. And anyway, with that, I would like to welcome our guests. Welcome back to PC Jr. He is the founder of Maine, and he looks like he's drinking a tall glass of Haterade right now. PC, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Very well.
Doing fine.
Good. Lovely.
And I just wanted to talk to you about your recent throwing shade on all the current bandwagons. You're out of the loop. You just need to get in on it.
That's pretty much it. Because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'd rather just hate on you guys and.
Yeah, and it's funny when you hate on us too. So I guess that's fine.
I'm good. Honestly, when I don't know what a trend means, it just pisses me off.
So two guys drinking Haterade in here tonight. And I got my co-host, Skylar, with me. Skylar is taking some new and exciting directions with his slappers. He's been playing slappers only with a Guitar Hero controller. Can you tell us, what are you trying to accomplish right now, Skylar?
All right, so I've very recently started streaming on Twitch. I feel like in order to kind of break out of the ranks, like kind of break out of that mold, I needed some kind of gimmick to garner initial viewership for my channel. I had the idea to play games with the Guitar Hero controller. It's unconventional, it's quirky, and it doesn't always work all that good, but it makes for some silly fun.
Yeah, I tuned in for like 5 or 6 minutes the other night. I'm impressed that you can play any game on a Guitar Hero controller other than Guitar Hero. So I hope that gets you some viewership there. And I'd like to welcome two new guests to the show today. First of all, a longtime Maine member and one of our mods in at least one or two of our groups. Jared, how you doing tonight, bud?
Doing excellent, fellas. How y'all doing?
Wonderful, sir. Thanks for coming on. And I hear you also run a Squid Game group. Was that your group you invited me to?
Yes, sir. I watched the first episode and was fucking hooked. And made a group that night, I think.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm late to the game. I was playing, do my research today. I was binge watching Squid Game. I was joining groups. I was sending friend requests. And it's because we have a very special guest with us tonight, Geoffrey, or VIP number 4 on the #1 Netflix exclusive show, Squid Game. Geoffrey, thank you for being on here. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, don't I have a last name as well?
Giuliani, wasn't it?
No,
Giuliano.
I'm not the
Giuliano.
mayor. I'm not the Republican dirtbag mayor.
Well, that's good. I would have really needed to rewrite my notes because this is all about Squid Game, and I don't think he knows much about that.
I don't know. He's a dirtbag. I'm a Democrat.
And I understand your favorite number is 69. Is that correct, or is that?
Yeah, well, look, if I can't do 69, I'll do 96.
96, absolutely, almost as good. Almost as good. Now,
that turned out not to be a good winner for you.
But I'm well over 60, so there's not a lot of those numbers flying around here anymore.
You're well over 60, so there's not a lot of 9 to follow.
No, and I live in Thailand, so the opportunity is potentially there. When the hormones stop moaning, what are you gonna do? It's like eating when you're not hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I understand that probably nobody read the notes I wrote, but in the true nature of Squid Game, I thought we would actually start the show with a game, and it should be a fair one, but I don't know if it's going to work on the spot. We'll give it a try. We want to play a game of 2 truths and 1 lie, and Geoffrey, where you're our guest, I want you to tell us 2 facts and 1 lie about yourself, and we'll try to figure out which one the lie is.
When I was a child, I was one of the last kids to contract polio, which after some time I was able to, successfully deal with that. More or less, one leg is a little bit not as up. I don't tell producers that. I've been a lay member of the Hare Krishna movement since 1971. I go to India and hang out with the Hare Krishna people, and it's done nothing but good for me. early on in my life, I was an advocate of psychedelic drugs. I think that they show you a part of life which one cannot normally see, and generally speaking, if they're used strategically, they can be helpful in one's personal growth.
Okay, so we'll each go through and take a guess before you reveal which is the lie. So let's start with PC. Is it polio? Is it India and the Hare Krishna? Or is it psychedelics? And I want you to remember that he is wearing those glasses.
I don't think you contracted polio because you seem like you're a little too young, just a tad.
Okay, PC believes it is the polio story. Jared, what do you think?
I don't think he ever had polio. I'm not buying it.
Well, apparently, what do you think, man?
Skylar.
I think polio as well, because I did just like a little bit of research on you. I believe you were born in 53, was it?
That's correct.
And I want to say that polio was, the vaccine came out, I want to say it was either 50 or 55. I don't recall right now, but
well, I did say I was one of the last people. I said I was one of the last people.
Well, we can't all have the same answer, so I'm going to go with the Hare Krishna because the psychedelics seems evident to me. Now, I see some statues, I see some religious things in the background, so I'm probably wrong, but I just can't be the only one that's the guy who goes outside the box here.
You want to know the answer?
Yes.
The odd duck out. Yes, would love to know the answer.
I lied about the polio.
Yeah,
And
knew it.
You've done psychedelics?
It's unthinkable, isn't it?
It is.
You know how many books he's written about the Beatles? Like
32.
32. That is impressive.
32.
Wow.
That is very impressive. What brought that on?
Well, when I got a master's degree in acting in '76, I was hired to be the marvelous magical Burger King on those commercials. I did that. But I had heard from I had heard from people around in that circle that McDonald's paid like 3 times as much. So I contacted McDonald's, and lo and behold, they were looking for a new Ronald McDonald. So then I became Ronald McDonald, and we were based in Toronto. Well, they found out after a year that I was a vegetarian and animal rights activist, and they wanted to fire me. And so I sued them for wrongful dismissal, and they settled, and I won. And but I had to leave Toronto, and I had 2 little tiny kids, and I didn't know what to do because the money wasn't that much, and I didn't have anywhere to go in America. So I looked in complete desperation. I looked under P for publisher in 1983. I said, hi, I know more about the Beatles than anyone in the whole world. And they said, just a minute. Rather than hanging up, they said, just a minute. I thought that was odd. So then about 10 minutes later, the CEO, I said, you got a Beatle book? I said, well, I don't have a Beatle book, but I could make one for you. And then he said, hold on. And he said, come down right now. And I went down there, and they gave me a check for $50,000. Apparently that when I called, they were sitting at a table thinking, you know what we need around here is a Beatles book. Yeah.
So just perfect timing.
Yeah, it was crazy. And nobody could do that now. But it happened again. When Titanic, so then I became a millionaire from writing books. Then I started thinking that I should make audiobooks, which I now own a company called Icon Audiobooks. And I've done many things with audiobooks for years and years and made lots of money. When Titanic came out, crazy about that film Titanic, I called up Random House Audio, and the CEO was called Jenny Frost. So I said, could I speak to Jenny Frost? This is Jenny Frost. My secretary's sick. What do you want? Can I help you? And I knew I had about 30 seconds. And I said, yeah, I just have 2 audiobooks on Titanic with all the interviews with the captain and everything else. Is like, and Paul, you do? I said, yeah, I do. And she said, okay, how much do you want for it? And I was going to say like $10,000. And my daughter said, say 250 grand. And I said, I can't say that. She said, just say it. And I said, I want $250,000. And there was a pause. And she said, I'll send half tonight by Federal Express and give you the other half upon receipt. Now, I didn't have any any book on Titanic, any audiobook. I had no interviews. I had nothing. But what I did was I took their down payment and I went to England to the BBC. And they didn't have the internet then. And I leased all these interviews with Titanic survivors and put them together. And it was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Audio. But I lost to Jimmy Carter reading the Bible. Someone to insult me once said Geoffrey Giuliano never saw an opportunity he didn't like. I don't consider that an insult. I'm from a very, very poor family. You know, I've been hustling. I'm over 60, and I've been hustling since I was 12 years old, and it's worked out very, very well. There are people at the other end of a phone line that will give you millions of dollars. They're just waiting for somebody to call with a great idea, and they'll absolutely give you several $1,000,000 if you know who to call, when to call, and what to say. But those opportunities are there. And I found enough of those in my life to have a comfortable life.
Well, I got to appreciate the hustle. I definitely understand coming from a poor family and just trying to throw lines and see what works, maybe on a much smaller scale. I mean, again, I want to remind everybody that we are a meme podcast, and what we do with our time is we make funny images, and so you know, there's not a lot of money to be made in that aspect, but I'm definitely hustling it, trying to make it something more in other respects. That's how this kind of all came about. Was Jared said, "Hey, I got this group. We want to talk to this guy. He'd love to be on the show and just kind of talk about some of his experiences." And I was actually curious, before we delve into anything more about Squid Game or anything in that respect, I want to know what your experience, Geoffrey, was like with meme groups. Is this your first time like really checking out memes and being a part of that culture?
I have a meme group called VIP4's Squid Game Universe on Facebook.
Yes, and I joined it, and we will be posting links to that in the show notes for sure, because we're going to get more people in on that.
2 weeks ago, I didn't know what a meme was.
That's awesome.
I mean, I hear all these words that are not boomer words. Cosplay, you know, meme. I don't know what that is, you know, but I've been pulled in because of being in Squid Game. My whole life changed. What were you going to say, brother?
I was going to say, was my Squid Game group the first meme group you were in? Is that how you got introduced to all of us, or did somebody else bring you online for the meme group?
Look, you know I'm a hustler. So as soon as I got like world famous overnight, I had and have a vested interest in keeping the buzz going. So I'm just like going to any damn place that had the word Squid Game on it.
You found the dirty corner of the internet where us memers hang out, and I'm really glad you found your way there. I mean, it's a whole culture. And so are you having fun with it? What are your first takeaways on meme culture and like what's going on in these groups?
Well, there's one meme in my group that stands above the rest. It says, "You should know." And it has a picture of me in a column, and it has a picture of the girlfriend in a column. It said, "VIP will satisfy you in 5 minutes. Your girlfriend will never satisfy you. VIP's favorite number is 69. Your girlfriend's favorite number is your credit card number." It was like some professional David Letterman level, and it was fantastic. On my page, you can hang around with the actual cast of Squid Game, and nobody else's page.
That's unheard of. I've never in my time memeing have I heard of a situation like this. I mean, obviously, I was skeptical at first, you know, because why the fuck would you be hanging around in a meme group? Because that's where memers hang out.
Because I got $100,000 for that goddamn show, and everybody else got $1 million to $2 million. That's why.
And this is where the hustle comes in. You got to hustle it from here,
right? It is my intention to squeeze out $1 million from Squid Game as a bottom feeder.
Even though you got paid less, we were just talking about this before we went live. You said a quarter of the world has seen your ass. Yeah. That's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
It's worth a lot of men and women writing me saying, "You weren't satisfied in 5 minutes. Let me finish the job." That's what it's worth.
Did you have any idea the Squid Game was going to be that big? No.
No, listen, if you want to see good acting, you can see me in a movie called Peninsula Train to Busan on Netflix right now. It's just, I'll put it up against Robert De Niro or anybody else. This is another animal altogether. I was the kind of actor that the industry knows about me, and they'd hire me, and I'd do one right after the other, maybe 5 or 6 good movies a year. That's quite a bit for an actor. So I was a well-employed actor, but the public didn't know anything about me. And it's been heartbreaking. I'm this loser dude that's like looking through the little tiny articles to see if also in the cast, one time in 15 years I found this, also in the cast is Geoffrey Giuliano. That's it. And now, 2 weeks ago, Newsweek magazine had a headline. I'll bring it up right now. I got it up here right here. This is what it says. Newsweek magazine. Listen what they said. Newsweek. I'm a boomer, so Newsweek's a big deal. All right, Newsweek magazine, October 20th, 2021. Squid Game actor who was once penniless. That's not true, but that's hyperbole to make it look better. Yeah. Squid Game actor who was once penniless, now global star thanks to Netflix hit. Global star.
They aren't lying.
About 3 weeks before this happened, I was standing in my bedroom at like 3 in the morning. Old people don't sleep that much. And my Thai wife was in there, and her foot was hanging off the bed. So I picked it up, I kissed her foot, and I put it in the thing and put the cover over it. And I looked out into the dark bedroom, and it was a moonlit night. There was a kind of a beam of light coming in, and I looked out and I said, well, Jeff, you really tried hard to fulfill that childhood dream of being a movie star. You really did. You did everything right. You got the master's degree. You did all the crappy jobs, and buddy, it just didn't happen for you, man. I mean, you're so old now. 2 weeks later, it happened. So I don't know what to say. That's not a testament. I just did a show tonight with a doctor. I thought he was like Dr. Dre and shit. I'm Dr. But he was an actual doctor, and he said, "Dude, I can't believe that you're over 60." You're abnormal. You don't seem like a guy that's over 60. I got nothing wrong with me, but it's a testament to the fact that at any time in life you can make stuff happen.
Anything can happen at the drop of a hat.
The true thing is that I am a Hare Krishna. Okay, this has saved me so much. I don't drink. I don't take drugs. I did when I was a teenager. Yeah. I never drank. But I don't smoke. I don't drink. I'm a vegetarian. I eat all health food, no sugar, no salt. I meditate. I got a meditation chair over here. I meditate for 50 years. I've been meditating. And I believe, I can't know, but I believe that has made me sort of not age in the way that other people my age look and feel.
Some of those things surely must help. Maybe it's the culmination of factors. I know, as someone who doesn't know a single moment of internal peace, I've never been I would love to be able to meditate someday, but I just can't quite get there right now. I don't have the peace of mind where I can just sit and be quiet and still with my thoughts. I'll get there, maybe.
Hare Krishna meditation isn't quiet. We just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we chant. So it's not. Sometimes we chant to ourselves. Sometimes we chant blah blah blah. But I know it's so weird that everybody. Well, you're a Hare. See, now before this was you're a cult member and you couldn't say this stuff. I'm so old now. I don't care if people know him. If that's the worst thing, what's the problem? I have a slightly off-center religious view. I mean, it's not a problem. You never heard about a Hare Krishna terrorist. You never heard that. So we're vegetarians and we chant a mantra. That's basically it. Anyway, I'm wandering in the weeds there, but go ahead. Go back to
and I mean, I love it. You call yourself a boomer, but yet you're like hosting meme groups. You're getting yourself out there, man. I mean, you're as hip as any of us, probably more so. So,
I'm more hip than all of you. All right?
Combined, maybe even combined.
Basically, I imitate Dennis Hopper when I'm in a movie. That's what I do. I imitate Dennis Hopper with a little something thrown in. So, I mean, I'm so out there that everybody looks normal to me. I don't know anything about the internet, but I was contacted by somebody called representatives of someone called Mr. Beast.
Yes.
And Mr. Beast apparently would like to use me in his version of Squid Game that he's doing. And
Okay.
I heard he's a rich dude, so he's going to have to pay me a lot of money, and I'll do it.
He is obscenely rich.
Does he do the weird food shit? Isn't he like, he does all sorts of weird YouTube videos, Skylar?
He does all kinds of YouTube challenges, and he'll just like drop in on people's Twitch streams and like throw them $10,000, like, hey, win this game and I'll donate $10,000 to you. I was watching one of his videos the other day where he had, I want to say, 100 people in a spray painted circle, and the last person to leave the circle would win $500,000.
He was playing his own Squid Game.
He gave the first person to leave $10,000, and then he kept on throwing just like 10,000, 5,000. I'll give you like some burgers. Like it was crazy.
You know, if something comes, I do it. Anybody who wants me on their podcast, just give me a call. I'll do it. What do I care? Otherwise, I'm just sitting in the office here chanting Hare Krishna. So I'll do it, man.
I was watching another interview that you had done, and you talk about wanting to squeeze out, $1 million in the end game from a Squid Game. Jared, he was talking about your robe and your mask, and there was some other prop that you were able to save from the show.
The
storyboard, the script storyboard, and you're actually, those are going to auction to be sold, but the proceeds are going to charity.
I didn't say what I was going to do with the $1 million. I said I wanted to squeeze out the $1 million. I give a lot of money to charity. We're carbon-based life forms, guys. And we only live a very short time. Wherever we were and wherever we're going is much bigger than this little bank and shoal of time. So I try to hedge my bets by doing stuff that I think is, it's just going to help people out. Life's really hard for lots of them. You guys smoke. You're smoking sons of bitches, aren't you?
Yeah,
right.
Usually there's another Josh on here ripping a giant bowl that takes up like half the screen. We didn't want him on here today because he'd be just like smoking the place out.
Now I understand what you mean by saying the bowels of the internet. I got that now.
You know what? So I just want to tie it through here because you're talking about helping people, and I mean, although we're a bunch of low life memer degenerates, that's kind of the purpose we serve in meme world. Is we're like a safe haven where people can go to hang out. It's you're not going to get hassled. You're not going to get the people that are. There's a lot of negativity on the internet, as I'm sure you're well aware.
I get a lot of it.
Oh, I bet you do. I mean, being in the public eye, you're getting thrust, all sorts of negativity your way. So, that's the purpose of Maine. And even though I'm wearing a Maine T-shirt or sweater, we're Maine, M-A-Y-N-E, and it's just it's a misspelling. We're the lowest common denominator. We're the outcast table in high school, right? But we're the outcast table where everybody's invited. We don't care who you are as long as you're not pick, right? So that's the philosophy. And
but you see, I go to India, I arrange the shipment of the food, and I stand there and I give it out to people that will die if they don't get that food. It's called the Vrindavan Widows and Children's Trust, Food for All. And we go to India a couple times a year and we give out a lot of food. They make up little packages, like enough for 3 days of food. It's got flour, it's got powdered milk, it's got sugar, there's some bottles of water, just some, because they like to make stuff, and some fruit and vegetables, and then they line up, and then I hand it to them. And I'll tell you, these women cry. They live in the street. They're homeless women in India. Homeless in India. Put your head around that. They cry. They fall at my feet. They kiss my feet. They don't want to let go. The security has to move them off my body because and it's not the fact that I've given them the food. It's the fact that somebody cares.
Somebody cares.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give away a lot in the show, but that's, like I said, I was doing my homework real late and, I'm always scrambling for time, but that seems like a takeaway in the show too, is like, will anyone help? I came into that show not thinking I was going to be touched, but there were some messages that for sure resonated, and you've already touched on them kind of unintentionally just on talking about that. And one of the things that I noticed in the show was they were talking about the main character. His mother had diabetes and she couldn't take care of her foot, and she just continued to work and, you know, was basically digging an early grave because she couldn't afford the health care. And that was one of the things that, like, I was like, why is it like that here in the United States as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason, one of the reasons Squid Game is popular is it's a dark dystopian view of the dark dystopian world in which we live in.
Yeah.
That's happening, you know? I mean, the hopelessness, death, greed, weird Donald Trump dudes trying to be authoritarian big daddies and steal all the money. You know, all this stuff is happening, you know? And that's why you need a hippie like me to come in there and kind of shake shit up a little bit, which I'm more than happy to do.
I thought when watching the show, you know, it does feel like it resonates larger than just Korea. And like you said, you know, quarter of the world has seen the show at this point. It obviously resonates on a fundamental level. People are feeling this dystopian. Before this round of dystopia, it was zombie movies. We've been in this kind of like lust. We want to see the worst case scenario to take our minds away from the current bad scenario.
Talking about how fucked up everything was, and then the pandemic hit. Completely fucked the entire world, you know?
Yeah, I went yesterday to see about my robe as they're cleaning it, and so I had to go and give them instructions. There was a hotel that I always stayed at in Bangkok for years, and it's completely gone. They've taken the sign down. There's boarded up with tin, rusted tin, and I thought, man, it was a really nice hotel. What the hell happened, you know? So COVID has not touched me. Hasn't touched me. I got vaccinated right away. I have an audiobook company. I make movies, and I haven't had any finance. In fact, I've made more money in this than other, you know, than I did before.
Was it weird going to Korea during pandemic times to work?
Yeah, damn right it was. I had to do 2 weeks quarantine there and 2 weeks quarantine in Bangkok when I got back. So I spent a month in jail. So when they started offering me money, I said, dude, you want me to go to jail for a month?
Yeah.
If you want me to go to jail for a month and some, you know, and even though it doesn't matter if it was a nice hotel, you know, it was jail. And I said, you got to pay me more than that. And I finally got $100,000. I shouldn't talk that shit, but anyway.
Yeah. And what about on set? Where, you know, was it weird there? Were they behaving?
No.
Differently?
You wore the mask until it was time for you to be on. But there was a funny thing that happened, a few funny things. And one of them was that I fell asleep. You know, when you're in a movie, you have to wait for lights and they have to put a track and the microphone and when they move the camera around. It could be 45 minutes for them to get it all set up again. I fell asleep, and the guy came over and like tapped Mr. Giuliano. I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he said, "No, it's okay." I said, "But you know, when you fall asleep, you know, maybe your mouth opens and there's like drool coming out."
You got the thin line of spit running down. Yeah,
it was. I know it was just super. I don't sleep on airplanes for that reason. It was super embarrassing to fall asleep on a big international movie set like that. You know? And the other thing, I'll talk about the tits. There was the girl, human furniture. Behind.
Oh, I had that in my notes. I want to know about that. You were using them like a pillow.
Yeah, well, see, no, I got to the set and there was this girl, beautiful, nice girl called Carla, and she's Mexican. She's a good actress, and she was the human furniture, and I said, how did you get this part? She said, I have the biggest tits in Korea. I said something like, I made some kind of very sexist boomer remark. And then I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. She said, no, it's okay. No, it's not okay. I shouldn't have said anything weird please forgive me. So I got out of that gracefully. And then they said, all right, Mr. Giuliano, that's the pillow. Put your head between her breasts. And I kind of was like a foot away. And they said, no. And I said, and I went about another 4 inches. I was about 5 inches away. And they said, Mr. Giuliano, put your head between. I said, is it okay? And he said, of course it's okay. I'm getting $4,000. I'm getting $4,000 a day. Just put your head in there. So I put him in there. And that was it. It was very. Now the other guy, that was the footstool, was a Muslim. And you don't put your feet on Muslims. That's the lowest part of the body. I had to apologize. And I've been all over the world, so I said, "Salam alaikum, my brother," and he liked that. "Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Giuliano." I said, "Look, I got to put my feet on you." "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." I said, "Well, I know it's not okay." So that was uncomfortable and weird. He was a dancer. If you know, that's why he could stay in that weird position so long. He was like a trained dancer. When he stood up, he had all these. He was ripped and stuff. So that was the human furniture. Was real. They were humans.
Oh, I definitely could tell. I mean, was she painted like a tiger or something?
Yeah, and she said it took 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was her real breasts. There were little tiny piece of tape on her nipples. That was it.
Is that where you fell asleep? Were you lulled into your nap in between?
No, thank God I didn't. Thank God I didn't.
Yeah, he wakes up drooling on the tiger boob.
Here's the thing. It's like, because I'm always the oldest guy in the movie, I try to be like the youngest dude in the movie.
I can see that.
Sometimes they try to help me walk and, "Come on, Mr. Giuliano," like put their hand on me and stuff. And I go, "No, I'm good.
So I gotta ask, do you think it was a subtle dig on the disparity in pay scale that both of the people you bet on did not do well at all? Because I remember your line, you were like, how much did you bet on this first guy, Mr. 69? It was $1 million bet, and
$1 million on that guy.
Yeah. You bet $1 million on 69. I don't know if you bet the same amount on 96, but both of yours did shit.
Yeah, I didn't want to say those lines, either one of them. I said, "Look, I'm a famous writer. Let me rewrite them." No. Okay, fine.
Did you have any input?
No, I was not allowed. I was not allowed any, and for that kind of money, I wasn't going to rock the boat. When I went on there, I said, I tried to ad lib around it, and they said, "Mr. Giuliano, would you please stick to the script, sir?" So I just had to say exactly. And some people faulted me online. "Oh, he's a terrible actor. He said 69 and 96 like he really thinks that's funny." Dude, what the hell has that got to do with me? Nothing. You know?
Yeah, you read the lines.
Well, that's like a huge debate about the show online with everybody talking about it, is everybody talks about how the VIPs acted like shit. But the director did that on purpose. Like, you guys were juxtaposed, like, all the serious dark shit that was going on in the games.
There was no VIPs. There's some guys that are very nice guys that are featured extras that had like 1 or 2 lines each, and it's me who had a big part. So
you definitely did, yeah.
We're not a rock group, the VIPs. I don't know. I don't know those guys. Their acting, good, bad, or indifferent, has nothing to do with me. I did fine. I did what they asked me to do. Yeah. It was an exaggerated caricature. When the waiter's over there, I say, "Hey, come here! Don't do that! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?" Would Robert De Niro do that a lot differently? Is there some big thing?
No.
It's just that's just nonsense. I don't even now that.
It's people that don't know shit about shows, man, about the complexity of the entire series. You know what I mean?
I was employed by Netflix. Netflix, if they didn't like anything, they got big pair of scissors down there in Hollywood. And if they don't like your shit, they cut your ass out. It's happened to me several times. Not one word of my dialogue was cut out. Not a word. So it's
good job.
I did not. I'm a very, 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 very good actor. And if you don't believe me, just go to Peninsula Train to Busan on Netflix, and you'll see another side.
Not in any way the same capacity, but I might as well just say I had a very similar cutting experience. I was on an episode of Undercover Boss, and they cut my entire shit out, so I only show up on the show laughing, muted. I think they were doing that because they really didn't like me.
I'll tell you, I was in a movie last year in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, called The Singapore Grip, and I had a big part. But when I met the producer, I said something that sounded terrible, but I didn't mean it that way. But I knew once it came out of my mouth, I could never take it back. She said, "I'm Farah. I'm the producer." I said, "Oh, I don't know. I have no idea." And I said it in a denigrating way, but I didn't mean it like that. I was completely cut out of that movie, except I sat there like an extra. They paid me, But I had a luxury apartment for a week, and they said, okay, you're done. You're going. We're taking you to the airport. What are you talking about? I got 3 more days in this apartment. No, you don't. You're out of here. Being on a big movie set is a minefield, and you can piss people off really easy. Patrick Stewart from Star Trek. I made a movie with him called Jules Verne's The Mysterious Island for the Hallmark Channel. And I was sitting at dinner. He invited me to dinner, and the whole cast was there. Vinnie Jones, we were all there. And he was had a few drinks, and he looked over at me and said, Mr. Giuliano, is it true, as I've heard, that you are indeed a vegetarian? And I said, well, yes, Mr. Stewart, I am. I don't. He said, do you feel, therefore, that you are morally superior to me? No, of course He never spoke to me on that whole 2-week shoot. No one spoke to me. I was a fucking pariah. I mean, I don't even know where that came from.
It was a good impersonation. We've been having a bit of a impersonation bandwagon in our meme groups, but it's literally just us impersonating each other. It's very bad.
That's got to be good for 4 or 5 clicks.
Oh, at least 10. I got like 50 on one. I mean, come on. Well, hey, I know PC's been really quiet, and I want to see. I thought you had some questions for Geoffrey here.
I do. They're in relation to Squid Game. Yeah. Do you have a favorite character in Squid Game?
Yeah, I think the main lead guy was pretty good. And he's, what's really clever about that guy, he's an agent. He's an agent. So effectively, at some, philosophically, he could give himself a job. He's like the biggest actor's agent in Korea. So when they get a request for a job, he sees it first. He was pretty good. He wears loafers with no socks. And the last time I saw that was with Don Johnson on Miami Vice, when I was 30. So I don't know. That's all. That's the answer.
That's pretty common in America right now, actually.
Okay.
It's real big with the frat bros.
Don't your shoes smell?
I wouldn't know. It ain't me. Speaking of him, that's number 456, the protagonist in Squid Game. His character, he angered my wife, he angered my eldest, and myself for repeatedly making bonehead mistakes, including...
Me too.
Yeah. He ripped off his own mother. He gambled at a claw game to get his daughter a birthday present, and he betrayed number 1. His name escapes me now. The old guy.
Ilnam.
Old gambler.
Yeah. That made it very difficult to like.
Yes.
I only play bad guys in movies, so I'm into bad guys. Now, what did your wife think about my performance, my friend?
We were all fascinated by the ass. Was there anybody else in Squid Game that you would have preferred to win?
Okay, now this is where I have to make a confession. I thought I said it already. I haven't watched Squid Game.
You didn't watch it.
Why would I watch some movie that I'm in? I watch my part, and I got a guy who works for me. I say, all right, cut my part out and put it on my website. I don't care about stupid fucking movie of any movie that I make. Unless I'm in some Godfather shit, I'm not going to be watching it. That there's a lot of demands on the viewer with Squid Game. They demand that you read something if you're going to watch the version. So I'm not into things where people that I'm as an audience member, they demand, because to appreciate a movie you have to have what's called embrace the willing suspension of disbelief, meaning that you were like pretend that it really is Don Corleone, and there really is a dead horse head in there. But if you have to suddenly start reading some shit or doing mathematical equations or whatever they ask you,
takes you out of it.
It takes you out of it.
I didn't notice it after a minute or two, man. Honestly, I didn't notice I was reading, and I preferred it that way because those actors really put on a damn good performance, bro. Like, I bought into that shit. I was playing those games with those guys. Like, they really fucking killed it, bro. I mean, truly they did. And I feel like I'm one of those that'll watch a series more than once to see, shit that I missed. And I started watching it dubbed in the background while I was memeing, and it was just completely different. It was like an old Chinese kung fu movie, dude. Like, it was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I always prefer to listen to the true language that it's in, even if that means reading, but I have to be in the right spot for that. I'm not going to watch a subtitle movie if I'm going to be distracted. You do have to give it your full attention. And I mean, I think that's part of what draws you into this in particular is you've got to be invested. And in this age, you know, especially, you know, our meme culture, internet culture, we're always also distracted. This show may have had a bit of a draw because it takes you out of that and it makes you actually, this is the first time I paid attention to a damn show in years. Now, granted, I was doing some homework and very poorly and cramming at the last second, but it still brought me into it. I mean, I had a little bit of a tear in my eye during the fucking marble scene when shit's going down. I mean,
but you didn't. Conversely, you didn't have a tear in your eye when I was about to get my my brains blown out instead of something else blown out.
Bro, I wanted to kill bro. I wanted him to shoot you so bad.
I was actually really curious because I knew I only just watched it today, and so I knew I was going to be talking to you today, and I'm like, that's a pretty fucking intense scene. You were on the ground, buck ass naked, with a gun to your head. You know, like. I mean, was that a little bit intense, even though it was not real?
What do you think? What do you think? There was all these like 20-year-old girls around. Yeah, I had to take off all my clothes. I'm over 60. You know, there's certain things you can't. I don't care. Like I have like a very expensive shirt's like $300 and shit. But when you take off all the clothes, I'm an old man. There's nothing you can do. They can't hide that shit. You know. So, and the other thing, I'll tell you what, I was more worried. I took 3 showers. I put the soap on and I like laid in the shower and left it there so it would sink in. But I don't know if I smelled bad or not because, you know, I don't know. You know, I mean, that guy was really in that position. He wasn't like 3 feet away and it was a camera angle. He was right there next to my penis. Please, God, don't let me smell bad. He didn't. That look of discomfort on his face. There's a thing where I touch his thing like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he had to do much acting. I don't think that was a very pleasant place for him to be.
Do you think the guy was envious? Because I've read that Koreans have the smallest penises on the planet.
They were mightily impressed then.
Yeah.
With that Sicilian trouser snake that he had the opportunity to see up close and personal.
Before we get to the end of this show, is there any like crazy shit that you had happen on the show that you like can't hold in, that you're like, this was wild?
Yes, I was assigned a girl who was 23 years old to take me around like a personal assistant. All the stars have a personal assistant. It's mostly so you don't run away, do cocaine, get in a motorcycle, break your leg in the production of Squid. But there's basically like a benevolent prison guard. So I had this girl. Okay, I'll just tell you about the haircut. She said, "How do you like my haircut?" And I'm telling you, man, that haircut was exactly like Kim Jong-un. So I said, "Hey, it's good. You look like Kim. You got that Kim Jong-un thing going." That's not some shit you say in South Korea.
No.
Dude, she fucking flipped the fuck out, man. she went insane. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. But I wasn't sorry. I wasn't. Because she looked, you know why? Because she fucking looked like Kim Jong-un. Who the fuck in Korea goes and gets their goddamn fucking haircut?
I'll take the Kim Jong-un.
Who does that? Like, she didn't know that it's a Kim Jong-un haircut? She didn't know that shit? You know, I mean, it's like that is the Beatles and Kim Jong-un have the most famous haircuts in the world. And she's running around with a Kim Jong-un haircut. Say, "Well, how do you like my new haircut?" I said, "Hey, you got the Kim Jong-un thing happening." And she just went crazy. So that's one thing. The other thing is there was no vegetarian food in Korea. They don't know about vegetarians there.
So what'd you do? Did you have to suspend your eating habits?
No, man. They started bringing me big plates of rice, and then they'd bring me like a croissant and this orange juice full of sugar syrup for breakfast. And I said, "This is not food, you know." The thing is, they gave me like $300 a day for food. So I just kept that money and brought it home with me. In fact, I have it here in a drawer. It's all American money. So I just, I was like, okay, man, you don't want to give me some food? I won't eat. That's cool. And actually, I went down and I bought Sun Chips. In the condo I was living in the bottom, there was a 7-Eleven. And the only thing they had there that I could eat was Sun Chips. And I like Sun Chips. So I drank iced tea and Sun Chips for 2 weeks.
You probably don't like Sun Chips too much anymore,
no,
though.
No, sorry, it wasn't Sun Chips. It was Doritos. It was Doritos. And so I don't, I don't like Doritos because they make your hand red and shit.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I still can't eat Cooler Ranch Doritos to this day because I ate too many of them as a kid. And they're fucking awful now to me. Like, they're toxic. But I love them for a period.
I'll tell you, I can definitely get down with some garden salsa Sun Chips.
Oh, well, garden salsa Sun Chips are amazing. But I could burn out on those, too, I'm sure.
Fun fact, they could make the Doritos to where they don't leave that dust on your fingers, but they purposefully make it like that so you do get the dust on your fingers.
Well, and the other thing, you know that that's got to be some toxic shit. That's not some organic shit that they go out in France and they grow it in the field and then they grind it together. That's some like a caustic shit that will definitely give you some kind of skin cancer when you're about 55.
It just binds right in your flesh. Who fucking knows what that is? It tastes like cheese.
I'll get back to you about the cancer in about 28 years.
There's a lot of things that taste like cheese once you lived in Thailand, my brother.
With the international attention, I mean, it's Netflix's biggest show ever, Squid Game. Have you gotten any offers from Hollywood? Yeah. They want you?
Of course. Yes, of course I have, but I can't talk about them because there's almost always secrecy agreements involved in these things. But I've had 3 movies offered to me. They're way, way up in 6 figures. And I mean, as long as now is when I'll have the heart attacks. Fuck, he worked all his life to get his shit together, and then he dropped dead. So if I don't drop dead, I should be a pretty. But now I have a question for you. Do I, after you've seen me, do I seem like that guy in Squid Game? Can you see that I played that guy, or do I seem very different from that guy?
You're that fucking character. I'm sorry, you're him.
You're the guy.
Jared, you had one last question, bud?
Okay, I have a question, and it's
yeah.
Do you think I have pants on?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I hope you do.
It's early. He said the other day he got up and walked away and didn't realize.
Just a minute, I'll be right back.
There's that ass. I knew I recognized you.
Oh, there, now we all recognize you.
All right, so you've written all those Beatles books. Did you ever meet any of the Beatles?
Yes, I did. Of course I did. I knew George Harrison quite well. And he was a cool guy. He was a very cool guy. He was. I remember his teeth were really big and long. They were long teeth.
We're running kind of long.
Teeth. And the front. And I remember talking, and he said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "Oh, nothing. You're looking at my long teeth, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, George, I was. You got some long ass teeth there, dude." I don't know. I didn't say that, but yeah. So, yes, I've known a lot of those guys. My closest relationship in rock in 1976, I wrote Pete Townsend from The Who a letter, and then he hired me to be his personal assistant for a summer. So I lived at his house and shit. I remember one time that The Who was. Oh, I'll tell you what happened. The Who was having a rehearsal in a church, which I thought was strange. It was like a church hall that they rented near their house, near Pete's house. And Roger said, "I've got to go to the bog, mate." And so, but they were doing The Seeker. They call me the Seeker, Finland. So, and they were saying, Pete said, "No, come on, man, we're into it." He said, "No, I got to go to the bog." He said, "Let Geoffrey fill in." So I went up there and I grabbed the mic. They call me the Seeker. I've been searching low and high. And so on one song, I sang lead with The Who.
Hell yeah.
With Keith Moon.
That's badass.
With Keith Moon.
Yeah, it was.
I love The Who. That's awesome.
That's badass. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming on.
This is a fucking disaster. That's all I gotta say.
Actually, we're running kind of long here.
Teeth.
We're running kind of long here.
Oh, fuck you. That's not what I sound like. Fuck